anos de idade, o fabricante de pranchas Dick Brewer é um exemplo de vida. Dos anos 60 até hoje, ele é considerado um dos melhores fabricantes de pranchas do mundo. Ele acabou de leiloar uma prancha por cerca de 60 mil reais e fabricar outra de alumínio para o surf de ondas gigantes. Estou aqui com o Randy Herrick, figura ímpar na sociedade havaiana. Ele realiza os eventos da Triple Crown, que são os eventos do circuito mundial de surf aqui no Havaí, há 32 anos e foi o responsável pelo leilão que foi vendida a prancha do shaper Dick Brewer por $33 mil. Was $33,000 or how much did the Dick Brewer board?
This set a record for the auction figure was 33,000 American US dollars, and before that the record was about $20,000, so more than almost double the previous record.
Tell me about this event. For how long you've been doing and how often?
The Hawaiian Island Vintage Surf Auction, it happens every other year, so we do it every biennial. We did the first one back in 1998, and then 2002, and then 2003, and then this past year was the fourth one that we did. And it's really hard because we have a lot of different items. It takes me about 2 years to gather everything together. So as I said, every other year the auction takes place.
Talk about this board the Dick Brewer was sold.
Well, Dick Brewer is probably the best known shaper here in Hawaii, and he's been shaping in Hawaii since the late 50s, early 60s, and he had a brand called Surfboards Hawaii, and back in the longboard era, the 1960s, this was the most famous brand in Hawaii, and Dick was best known for shaping big wave guns to ride the very big waves, and this was a specific model designed for Buzzy Trent, who in the late 50s, early mid 60s was the best big wave rider known here in Hawaii. So it was a Surfboards Hawaii, shaped by Dick Brewer, with a Buzzy Trent model sticker on it and a unique island sticker called Surfboards Hawaii Buzzy Trent model. So very unique board. They only made 20 of these boards back in the 1960s, and only 3 of them are known to exist.
Tell me the size, who was the owner and who bought it?
This was a 11-foot big wave gun, what we call a rhino chaser. It's designed to ride really big surf at Waimea Bay. I found this board, actually came from Hawaii, went to California, and a friend of mine was getting divorced, and so he had to give the board up. So I got the board back from my friend, and it was in all original condition. It was in perfect condition and hadn't been restored or anything. And a gentleman who was a collector from Florida is that one that actually purchased the board.
You can't tell the name?
He's somebody that nobody would ever know, just an anonymous collector. He actually had somebody else bid for him because he likes to remain what they call anonymous.
You guys were expecting this price?
Actually, I thought this board would sell for about $15,000 to $20,000 because it was a very unique board, and that was the standard before this auction. But as I said, what it did, it set a new record because it went for much more than we expected. And Dick Brewer was there during the auction, and we introduced Dick as the shaper of the board and talked about Buzzy Trent, who just passed away last year. And Dick was so moved and so emotional that he actually began to cry when this board went for so much money, because it really validated what a fantastic shaper he is, what a unique board this was, and really a tribute to Buzzy Trent, the big wave rider.
Metal board, nickel.
Garrett, what an incredible board. I mean, how you had this idea with Dick Brewer?
It was actually Mark Newson and Dick Brewer who came up with it. And Mark Newson was voted one of the top 100 influential people in the world by Time Magazine, that's a huge achievement.
And about the material, how you guys figure out about this?
It's made with nickel. They use electric currents to bring the metal to the board for 5 days in a pool of acid. And it's the same technology on the leading edge of an airplane wing or a helicopter blade.
And how you guys, how Dick Brewer went into the material?
They always were trying to get heavy, solid boards, and metal was always a dream of his. And Mark Newson came to him with the technology to make a metal board, and they joined forces and had me ride it.
How the board works? You tried where?
Tried it at Chopo, I tried it at the Beast, I tried it at a Typhoon in Japan. All the board was great.
And what was your first sensation when you let go the rope?
Cuts through the water, like unbelievable. I think we rode it in Chile when you were there.
Yeah, last year.
Eric towed me into the barrel, and you got the biggest wave of the trip. That time in Chile, we had this board, don't you remember?
Sorry, I was out of my mind. First approach into surf, when you saw surf for the first time?
When I was a little boy, there was giant surf off Long Beach, California. It was breaking off the Rainbow Pier. It was before they built the breakwater in 1941 during the war, and one of the lifeguards took me on the big hollow board surfing, and he caught a wave and I was on the board when I was a little boy, and I guess it stuck.
When you moved to Hawaii?
I moved to Hawaii in 1961.
What was your first impression when you get here?
It's so beautiful when I got here. I was in my senior year of mechanical engineering, and there was no going back. I took a few more classes at UH, but that was the end of it. I knew what I wanted to do. The surfboards were at a very primitive state at that time, and I knew there was a lot of research and development to do on the modern surfboard, so I set out to do it.
Each one was the most experienced surfer that knows everything what he wants, and you feel that.
I think that Derek Dorner and I working together, we worked together on the Sunset Waimea thruster, and we worked together on the tow boards, that we really communicate well.
How you can compare the Eagle from the guys in 1960s and nowadays?
Well, the surfers of today are far better athletes than they were yesterday. But, Fred Hemmings, Buzzy Trent, Peter Cole was a swimmer. Most of the big wave riders in the early days had been athletes in college or high school and learned to train. That's why they had muscle enough to ride big waves. Now the surfers are surfing so many hours in the water, and they're doing a training program. It's a whole different movie. We really have serious athletes surfing now.
And how many boards are you shaping now?
Myself, I shape about 400 boards a year on Kauai. There's another 400 made in Australia, and probably 600 built in Japan.
You think a surfer have to know what he wants?
He doesn't have to know what he wants. I can watch a surfer walk across the room and I know exactly how he feels right away. People surf just the way they are.
That's a good one.
And the board should look like the people.
That's a second good one.
Para mim é um prazer enorme estar com a presença de Dick Brewer aqui nessa sala de Shaper, porque ele, além de ser uma lenda do Shaper, né, ele continua sendo moderno. E isso é uma coisa muito incrível, porque em 1960 ele já era um criador dos Shapers modernos. Ele shapeava para os melhores surfistas do mundo naquela época. E ele continua shapeando para os melhores surfistas do mundo. Então isso é muito difícil você se manter esse tempo todo e estar presente, poder receber uma prancha das mãos dele é realmente uma grande honra. That would be forever.
MaukaRad fica por aqui. Até semana que vem com mais informações diretamente do Havaí.